So this is our 6w7 versus 7w6 episode of the God Pod. I'm Larissa. I'm a 7w6 4-9 social self-pres.
Okay, hello. I'm Chanti, and I'm 7w6 9-4 with sexual self-pres. Yes.
And I don't know if we're going in any order, but hi, I'm Sarah. I'm a 6w7 692 self-pres social.
And I'm pretty much her adjacent. I'm 7w6 792 self-pres social.
I am Mona. I'm 6w7 SB social 648 prefix.
So yeah, it's interesting that we have like 7-2-7-4 and 6-2-6-4 to sort of have a interesting balance here. No 3 hearts, sorry.
Like when people are watching typing videos, a lot of people struggle to differentiate between 6w7 and 7w6. It is the most like outwardly head typey, where we're kind of like very vibrational and jittery. So I figured like we could kind of really try to differentiate between the two so that maybe it can make things easier for people to differentiate them in typing videos.
7s are louder.
You think so?
Are 7s louder? Yes.
Yeah, they're like, here I am, look at me, I'm here. And 6s are more like, hi, from the background.
Depends though, because there's like a lot of 6w7 comedians, and like, oh, I was trying to figure out what the type of I'm so bad with names. The guy who plays Samwise Gamgee.
I can go look.
Sean Astin, thank you. And I was watching him, and he just talks and talks and talks, and I was like, I bet you he's a 6w7, because 6w7s, I feel like, depending on other factors, because maybe like Mona seems less obnoxious than me, or how I feel anyway. But I feel like we can like
it's the 8 influence.
Yeah, it like grounds her, so she's, I don't know, but I wasn't sure if maybe he could have a 1-6, but probably not. But there's like, he almost reminds me of Taylor and that like preachiness, and sometimes 6w7s can do that, where I don't know, I think I personally feel like I talk a lot. But I'm more self-conscious about it. I feel like 7s in general are just like, here's my energy, like bask in it. And 6s are like, here's my energy. I'm sorry, but I gotta do it.
Yeah, that's true. That's funny.
Yeah.
More questioning everything with the 6, and the 7 is more.
Yeah, and I feel like the 6 is afterwards, like, why did I talk so much? Why did I took so much presence in the call? And like the 7s are like, what, why? Like, I don't care. Like, I'm just who I am.
See, I feel like sometimes if I took up too much space, and like if it's like a new set of friends or something, I'll be like, oh my God. But yeah, so.
Yeah, no, I can be like very aware too when I'm like, oh, I'm talking too much, and then I get apologetic, but it's not like sincere. I'm like, oh my God, I'm sorry, I'm talking too much, or I'm like, I've been talking too much about myself, but then I keep going. So like, I know I'm saying it, but I can't help myself. So I don't know.
You guys, do the 7s ever feel like they're self-deprecating?
I'm self-deprecating.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't think you're as good at it as we are.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. There's something more, and I hope you don't take this the wrong way, Sarah. With 6-9, when I see 6-9 self-deprecating, it's more, I guess, radiating like, give me reassurance vibes. Whereas like when I'm self-deprecating, I'm uncomfortable when people like feel like they need to reassure me. I'm like, no, that I didn't want you to reassure me. I was like doing this for fun. Like, I'm like,
I don't want no pity. Like, yeah.
But yeah, so it's interesting that Mona with the 8 fix and the 4 maybe is like more self-deprecating and doesn't want the pity or the reassurance, the coddling, I guess.
Yeah, no, I make fun of myself and I self-deprecate a lot, but it's more just for entertaining purpose. It's like, look at me, how sad and a loser I am, and laugh about it. And I never want pity. I don't want anybody to say, "Oh, poor thing." I'll be like, no, I'm not. I'm just making fun of myself. Like, I don't want to be victimized. I don't ever want to look weak for anybody. Like, don't cuddle me, don't smother me, like mother me. Like, I hate all these things. Like, I want to be strong.
Yeah, I think that every 6 has that probably, or what you just said. Like,
no, a lot of 6s like to be in the center of like being like, help me. I'm like, I need your affection. I want your help.
I don't know though. Maybe that's like only with 2 and 9 attached. I don't know. Sarah, what do you think?
Well, it's funny because like I don't know how we as a group feel about the what's the term? It's CP6 counterphobic 6s. The concept of that. Because it seems like in the older literature, it was like either you're a phobic 6 or you're a counterphobic 6. And I don't think it's that cut and dried. And I think that exists, that dynamic exists in every 6, because even if I agree with you that like, especially a Stockholm 6, especially like a self-present, I feel like I'm the most, well, I play on being the most helpless 6. Like, I don't mind getting help, but there are plenty of circumstances where I'm like resent it as well. I just am not gonna like push it away in the same way that Mona will.
You like the reassurance?
I love reassurance, but like I also like words of affirmation, and I don't know if that's like, if that's only the 6 in me.
No, I also like words of affirmation.
I only like
not ashamed of it.
I only like reassurance if I'm specifically asking for it. If I'm being self-deprecating and people jump in to reassure me or validate me and they're like, "Oh, you're not like that." And I'm like, "Yes, I am." Don't reassure me.
Yeah, I think like what you and Mona said, it's like there's kind of a performance aspect to it. Like it's more for yourself. Like that's how I kind of feel too. It's like or I do sometimes use self-deprecation as like a defense mechanism where I'm like doing it as like, oh fuck, I'm getting a vibe off this person. Okay, I have to like make myself somehow smaller so that they don't like fucking do something crazy or start being competitive with me or do some other thing, but it's not sincere. It's just like, it's like a social strategy I've developed over the years to just like, like here, throw them off your scent kind of thing. Like,
oh yeah. For me, my 6 fear is often manifests because like, I definitely feel like niceness is a defense strategy. I like to think that I am a genuinely kind person and actually care about other people and will do things for them regardless. However, if I'm in like, it's like the like fight or flight kind of thing, where there's also like freeze and fawn. Have you heard of that model? It's like the overwhelming fawn response. And I can feel that like take over if I'm uncomfortable and I start smiling. Like if a guy is hitting on me and I'm not comfortable, other people might like talk shit or just walk away, and I just start smiling, and then afterwards I'm like, what the fuck was I doing? Like, but it's so overwhelming. It feels very like survival and physiological, and I can recognize how much of my personality is like built around that concept.
It's very interesting.
So, I'm like a look at Disney animal, or like I'm like, oh, I'm cute, I'm helpless, and that deflects people. And when I stay small and self-deprecating, then yeah, people tend. I like to think, I don't know.
Yeah,
they don't target you as much. They're like, oh, either she knows what we were gonna say bad about her, so there's not as much of a point, or she's pathetic. You're
I do
alone.
the exact opposite of you, Sarah. I'm like coming out very strong, and like I scare them away, and if they stay there, that's cool, but if not, like I lost them. Like if anybody's rude to me, I'm like even more offensive, more rude. Like I bite. Like I don't know how to explain it. Like I don't want to be seen as nice. I want to be seen as rude and cold and a people hater. So they leave me alone. Like
You're a cat and I'm a dog.
I will kind of do this thing. Like I don't usually get hit on. I don't know what it is. I mean, but
what, you don't get hit on?
No, not usually.
What? Not by men, but hopefully by women, because like
Yeah, that's true. Last time I got hit on by a guy, he was like, "Oh, you smell." He was like getting close to me. He's like, "Oh, you smell nice," and I was like, "Oh, thanks." And I like take my cup and I just like turn my body completely away. He's like, "Do you come here often?" And I was like, "No," and like I like, more away from him. But like I was being friendly, but like was also like slamming. Like he like stood behind me for a while, didn't say anything else, and then just like wandered away. But because I can't be outright mean. I'm not interested, but like.
No, I also have a problem with that though. To be like outright mean. Like somebody really, really has to fucking, push me very far for me to be like outwardly like mean or whatever to them, because then I would be seen as mean. And I know it's weird because I don't know. Yeah, you would think like with a 4 fix you won't care as much, but it's still, maybe it's 9 secondary. I don't know, but
I don't want to be seen as mean either. But I have
No.
a two.
I like being
No,
mean.
I was about to say, I think Larissa might just
Yeah, me too. I like being seen as mean.
But I want to be seen as crazy though. Crazy is okay. I want to be seen as crazy and weird and I don't know, like unexpected and maybe I will like fuck you over, but you don't know because I'm nice, like like, but it's like confusing. So I can be threatening that way, but mean is no, I don't like to be mean.
use chaos as your defense mechanism.
Yeah. So that usually also works. So if I can like scare them away with weirdness, that also helps.
What about you, Larissa?
I tend to just like try to make the other person like really uncomfortable. Like if someone's bothering me, then I just start flipping it back on them and start getting sort of like until they just get so like overwhelmed or whatever that they just kind of like leave. Like when I do the like deprecation thing, I feel like it's like I've become conscious of it's like a social strategy where I'm like trying to get a lay of the land, and it's more like I'm around people that I want to interact with, but I just need to like kind of get a feel for what's out there, and I do it as like a little sneaky scuttlefish or something. And then when I'm comfortable, I'm like, I'm an asshole. Anyway.
It's funny.
I feel like we're all pretty like much like either relating to each other on this front, or we're not getting like a divide, I guess. Here's one of the questions that I feel like pops up a lot with like 6 versus 7. Do you feel like you have to earn something in order to deserve it, or do you deserve it just because you can go and get it?
That's so funny. Our reaction, no, like instantly, no.
And Mona's like,
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
but-
do.
I'm curious what Mona's got to say.
But wait, I want to go back to the thing before this, because you said you two said, like Larissa and Mona both said that they like to be seen as mean, and that's interesting because you both have 4 secondary.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
maybe.
maybe that's something, I don't know. And we both have like,
Has an 8 fix and Larissa's contra.
yeah, also that, yeah. But also I think 4 secondary could also, because it's reactive, and I have like 9 secondary and you too. And Sarah, what's your secondary?
9.
Also 9, yeah. So yeah, maybe that also plays a role. I don't know. Could be.
Probably 9 second too.
Okay, go back to the other questions.
I
No,
feel like
no, I didn't.
gratitude is something I've had to I've only recently been actually trying to work on, because I do have this like entitlement, like this inborn entitlement where it's like, why do I not have all of these things that I want? Like, why am I experiencing all of these awful realities? Like, I'm fucking Larissa. Like, I deserve much better than this. I'm very disappointed in the universe. Like, I've been like that since I was a little kid, though. Like, we're not religious, but I used to yell at God all the time. Like, I'd be like, why? Like, why? Like, give me what I want. Like, I don't know. I don't feel like
Heavens of
anything
bread.
earned. Like, no, that's preposterous.
Oh, so funny.
Anyway.
See, I used to bargain with God.
Oh.
And I'd be like, if I do this, or I think I told you guys that I'm pretty sure I had some kind of OCD. I was never like diagnosed, but I was like, if I only step on these kinds of tiles, will you
Oh, I
make
had
like
that too.
will,
Oh my
or
God, as a kid.
yeah, like to feel safe. But this sounds
so
so
weird.
horrible, and I still kind of do this to this day, like a reflex. If I lose something that I'm like really upset that I lost, I'm like, okay, I will throw away these 3 things to get this back. And I'd be like, I don't care if these 2 people die, if grandma gets better and doesn't die. And it's just like, or like, I don't know. I wasn't
that's just
railing
wishful
against God. I was
thinking,
trying to
though. I
bargain with
think
him.
it's very interesting, but I really think that's just wishful thinking. I think that is just, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, 9 bullshit maybe.
Oh, I don't know. That does seem like some karma sort of justification 6 thing. Like,
I would do that as a kid, though. I would also do that. You know, like fucking walk like only on certain steps, and I would like fucking sing animals for sing songs for the animals, so they won't like so bees won't stick me. You know, stuff like that. And I thought, oh yeah, it worked because I was never stung by a bee. You know, so I would do this like after years,
Maybe
so I won't get stung.
I feel like maybe that wasn't the best part of the example. Maybe the best part of the, like, if something, let's say something went wrong.
Yeah.
Who would you blame?
What do you mean?
Like, would you blame what would your like reflex be? Like, Larissa sounds like she would rail at God. Like, fuck you, God, give me what I want.
I blame like any external factor I possibly can before I blame myself.
I blame myself when it's related to my creative stuff. Like, then I get really like in the pit over it. But if it's like related to like my circumstances, it's like, yes, I can understand that if I don't like working and I don't want to work and all these other things, that these things happen. But I feel like I should be the exception. I feel like I should have an exemption from having to play the Matrix game. And I'm really angry that I have not received my exemption from the universe. Like, am I a blazing asshole?
In terms of like earning things, like, so my mom's a 6, and I'm the type of person who, like, if I have the resources, the time, the money, and I want something, I just go and I make it happen. And my mom is like, well, you didn't do anything to earn that. Like, you just like went and got it. And I'm like, I deserve it because I wanted it and I got it. That's like, what, you know. And Sarah's you and my mom are type twins.
Well, it's interesting, like, Mona, because you have an assertive fix and you have like a selfish fix. So, like, how do you relate to this too?
I'm kind of thinking about, what do you mean? Like, if I buy something for myself, or if I receive something? Like, I'm thinking about the question, like, so I don't get this wrong. Like, I was offered a higher position at work, and I was thinking about if I earn it, because I didn't know if I earned this position, if I could be like some other people just jump in it because it's more money and it's like a better position and more power. But I was like thinking the whole time, if I earned this position, if I would be a good boss, like if I could manage this. So I didn't took the position.
You didn't take the position?
No, I did not.
That's more in line with how I think of 6s. A good 6 versus 7 distinguisher. Okay.
Like my litmus for taking that, like I would be more like, is this going to require more of my fucking time? Am I going to have to be responsible for more people? That would be like, no, I'm not taking the thing. But if it's like you just get more money and you get more whatever, I'd be like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever, I don't care.
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
like
oh, go ahead.
it's like I like kind of feel like this too. Like I don't want to spend my time with other people and be like this. Like I have an assertive fix and I can be very assertive, but I don't like to. Like the 6 core doesn't like to be assertive, and it feels like being possessed by a demon if I have to be assertive all day, every day, and talk to like coworkers. I like if I have a higher position and I have to be the boss all the time, and I have to be assertive in order to get things done. Like I will feel like awful the whole day because I'm a compliant core. I don't like to be assertive. I can be assertive, but like I'm inside, I'm shaking. Like on the outside, I will be like very cold and assertive and everybody would be afraid of me. But in the inside, I'm like, why do I have to do this? I hate this. Like I want to cry all the time because I hate being assertive. Like honestly.
That's super interesting.
Yeah, I think like some people forget that 7s are assertive as well. I'm over here saying like, wait, I want to say this definitive statement. I'm gonna be wrong.
No, it's certainly true. Yeah, because like at my job, I also have to be assertive because like I do homework class and it's like for the whole school, and at Thursdays I'm only there like as the regular person, so I'm like the person with the most authority, but I hate it, and they fucking know it, so they will always test me. But the like the instructor, no, like the boss from the school, what's the supervisor, I don't know what the name is, from the school, she
Principal?
was like, yeah, principal, she was like checking like constantly because it was too loud. And I was like, oh, fuck, I have to do something about it. And she said, yeah, if they are too annoying, you have to send them to my desk and they will get a card. And so many cards and they will get expelled from the school. So I was like, oh, God. So, I had to be fucking strict and firm. So I had to like, if they're like in line, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, no, this is so hard for me, because it's like taking so much energy to be like this and to be so fake angry or whatever to do that. Yeah, it sucks like my energy.
Yeah, it sucks energy, right?
Yeah, and I don't like that, absolutely not. But sometimes it's necessary because if I don't, they will just fucking walk all over me. It's just the truth.
Yeah, working with children is dangerous. They smell fear.
I have this observation of like 6s tend to be, I feel like maybe they don't have specifically a sense of like stewardship or responsibility, but I personally feel this connection. I feel like I'm in this web and like I can feel the vibrations in that web. So these things, like I'm aware of how my actions affect people around me. It's kind of super ego-ish. It's not always like a should I care about that. I am aware of it. And I don't know if 7s experience that as much. I feel like 6s, in my experience, I've called 7s selfish, admiringly, as well as accusingly, because I'm jealous that a lot of times you guys are just like, why would I feel guilty? I'm just going to do it. I need to do what I need to do for me. I'm like, no, I have to do all these calculations because I'll feel the repercussions if I don't. And there's like a practicality to 7s, ruthlessness almost.
Yeah, I think that's interesting. I think 7s tend to look for shortcuts and look for, quick ways to get stuff. And I know that with 6s, they if they see that, they think it's not fair that they got there like this quickly and other people had to work for it. So they will, I don't know, from my experience at least, I've seen that, and yeah, they will not be happy about that.
I forget, would we type like Hermione Granger from Harry Potter as a 6?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's like a little Karen.
Mm.
Yeah. She always seems to be like, that's not fair. You're not doing it the way you're supposed to. Wingardium Leviosa.
Well, I've
Yeah.
had because it was to what you said, but I've had this theory for a while that we're triggered by our wings, like the wings on our core, but also on our fixes. Like I am excessively triggered by 6-1 shit, and those are my wings, my gut wing and my head wing. So it's like I'm just curious because it sounds like you just said you're like kind of triggered by 7 stuff, and I'm triggered by 6 stuff. So maybe this is actually like also like a tool to delineate like Mona, are you at all triggered by 7 stuff? And Rachel and Chanti, are you at all triggered by 6 like behaviors?
Yes. But I love you guys.
Oh, that's okay. You can talk. You have my full permission to talk shit.
Yeah, mine too.
Mine's
Like I love 7s and I relate a lot to them. The only thing that triggers me is the like missing the stability. Like if you're friends with a 6, you can be sure that the 6 will be your friend forever. Like once you have a strong bond, like the 6s are loyal, and 7s feel like butterflies to me. Like I always told Chanti, I did tell her, like they feel like butterflies to me. They can be with you one day and move on the next day. You're not entirely sure if the 7 will always be with you. Once you're boring or you're not giving enough juice, the 7 will move on to somebody else. Maybe they will come back, but a 6 will stay with you even if you're boring, not like depressed, whatever. Like the 6 will be there, and the 7 is like showing up in your life once in a while, maybe for a longer time. But a 7 is selfish in a way, and they are looking for people who give them the most and the most exciting experience. And if you're not like exciting enough, one day they will leave you or might leave you. So this is what triggered me with 7s. So I never consider 7s my close friends because I would be too afraid of losing them. Like my close friends are people who don't leave me.
Yeah, I will. My thing is like, I'll say this, but like I will always like be your friend, but I will not always be currently in your life, if that makes like you have to. We have to have something in common. We have to have something to talk about. You have to be intellectually stimulating for me to keep coming around. And if we're not, it's like I will be over here and I love you over there, but come back. I'll come back when you come up with something new or interesting.
Oh,
Yeah, awful, right? Awful, Sarah.
and I shouldn't
we will be
judge
your friend.
because like you're beautiful butterflies, and like oh, that hurts my heart. I'm like
I'm actually pretty loyal. Like I am a flaky 7. I'm not as flaky as I think some 7s are, but especially 7-3s I think are maybe more flaky. But I am loyal. But I want to counter what you said, Mona, about 6s being loyal, because pretty much almost all the friends that I've lost over the last 2.5 years have been fucking 6s. So 6s will abandon you if you don't
Once you betray them.
ideology. If you do not,
if they think you've betrayed them or their ideology.
yeah,
If you lost that trust.
Oh, you no longer. I never agreed with your belief system to begin with, but now I guess we know this whole new level, and now I no longer have a friend because you think I'm like a murderer. Anyways, I'm gonna stop myself, but it's like,
Oh, that's okay. We're shit talking each other, so go for it.
Yeah,
Take the
go for
claws
it.
out. I feel like each of us should just go around and talk about the things that we dislike the most, like and dislike the most about the other type.
escalating. Tell you.
Yeah, let's do it. I've got a stuffy. I'm fine. I can hug it if I'm feeling triggered. So let's go. I love 7s. They are so fun. They I feel like I always need to have like a 7 in my life I can call up and be like, let's go. Let's just go do something. Because other people can be very boring. And they're like, no, I have kids and I have this and I have that. Like the 7's like, I'm probably gonna have to bail this person out of jail, but like it's gonna be fun. And I'm exaggerating, obviously. And I think a little bit of it's a Stockholm, like a mix of it's a 6-wing 7. Obviously I have some of that 7 influence. And part of it, I will admit, will be the Stockholm thing of like, I don't know. I almost want to save them. That sounds terrible.
Very angry sixes.
You want to be held hostage.
Yeah.
Sarah.
That explains my dating life.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have felt like left behind, or like I'll be there for you. I'll provide resources for us. I'll make sure that like we have the gas for the car, and like I somewhat plan the trip so that like we don't end up completely lost. And then people like, and I put that on myself to be fair. And then I'll feel like people like, oh, you're being kind of boring and like you're bringing us down. And there's this like positive thinking about sevens that is absolutely beautiful and magical. And like y'all manifest some amazing shit. You have this just like Peter Pan belief in just like, I can fucking do it. And even though you're like, I'm sitting there like, how the fuck are you going to do that? That's impossible. Are you delusional? And then a lot of times they crash and burn, but then you pull it out of your ass and I'm like, oh my God, how did you do that? So I love that. Then it can also feel like there's a toxic positivity sometimes. So like if something bad happens to me and I am the realist, as a 6 with the reactive can be the realist, you're like picking holes in things. And I'm sure that's how 6s are annoying, is that we'll pick holes in everything. And just we pick like picking a wound. We're like, you love us. I'm like, do you really love us? Are you sure you love us? And you're like, oh my God, leave me the fuck alone. I know I do that. My point here was like, so I'm trying to like be supportive, and I'm trying to troubleshoot. I'm trying to look at what could go wrong so I can avoid those things. And I feel like I'm being like this, I'm lifting you. I'm being like the soil that you're growing in. I don't know.
Aww.
And then I just get either left behind, or if something bad happens, I get blamed for saying that bad thing could happen. I had an ex who was convinced that whenever I got sick, ever, and like he could have a certain amount of a point, but like if I was hanging out with someone with a cold and I ended up with a cold, it wasn't because, anyway, I feel like I'm monologuing.
That's an interesting point you're making, though, because I have theories about Stockholm's and illness. So.
No, I can manifest illness as well, but sometimes it just fucking happens. And I could have taken as much vitamin C as there exists in the world and like imagined all the beautiful green healing lights and tried to will myself not to be sick, and I still would have been sick. So
yeah. Well, what I think too is like, to kind of go back to that triggered thing, I think that like 7s have a 6 shadow and 6s have a 7 shadow. Maybe it's like this for, I don't know if it's like this for all the types actually. Maybe it is, but it's like I think like 7 stuff, like the freedom, the expansiveness, like a big me stuff feels dangerous to 6s, and to 7s it can, like the 6 stuff of like rules and like duty and like the tribe and like the shoulds, it feels dangerous and constricting and awful. So it's kind of like we almost like, I feel like trigger. It's like we're looking at this thing that we've disowned, that we refuse, but it's like obvious in our wings that it's there. So sort of like how, okay, well, here's a question. So for the 6s, how do you experience the 7 space of like fearing limitations, being restricted, or having your possibilities cut off? Or just being big me? Like how do you experience these sort of 7 things?
I feel flighty, not as flighty, but like I feel like it's hard for me to commit to things, and part of that is like my 6 anxiety needs to have open doors. I need to have an escape hatch, because if I don't, it makes me extremely anxious. If that makes any sense. And you were talking about being big, right? Part of the question.
Yeah. I'm taking up space.
How do you feel the influence of the 7 in you?
Yeah, like I feel like if it comes to buying a house or something, I like the idea of buying a house like is not welcoming to me. Like I would never like to buy a house, because then I have to stay there. So and if I want to move somewhere else, I have to sell the house. And or even the question, where do you want to live in the world? I could never settle someplace because there's so many exciting places. And or being in relationships. Like I want to be in a relationship, but once I am in one, I'm like, oh no, I can't have any other people. Like I have to stay loyal to my partner, and then they pop up so many other people I think they're interesting, and I can't hook up with them. So yeah, I feel like freedom is very, very, very important to me in every aspect of my life, like even for job applications and friendships and parties. Like if I say yes to this party and then I have to go, and if something other exciting comes up, like, and I cannot change my mind, and that makes me sick. Like I want to go last minute. I want to decide on the day I want to go out. I want to decide then. So
you
if
don't
I
know
want
how you feel. You don't know how you feel in the moment. So
More
so if I say
I do, Mona, like how does that present them with the, if you're like an SP6, right? So it's like you'd want, like you think that like an SP6 would want that, like the house, the support system, like the kind of safety net to be there. Like,
I want to have my money safe. Like I want financially, I want to be safe. I want to be able to buy skincare and perfume and clothes and plants and beautiful things I can gather around myself, and Botox treatments or whatever, or hair stuff, and what, like things I want. This is SP to me. Like it's not
things,
it's not jobs and houses and partnership. It's like SP is for me everything around me.
It's a specific domain also of self-preservation, right? It's like if you look at these different zones, it's just like a specific zone that you are like more aware of and like more catered to. Like some people are like more financially invested, or like more health invested, like, you know, if you look at the
like
zones.
SP is not very visible in me. Like I know I'm SP dumb because I am very normal. Like you're doing this video call right now, right? If we wouldn't do video call, I would have left already, because like like my time is SP to me. And if something takes too long, or like I just leave, and people hate me for that. Like Sophie, like my friend, she hates me for that, because if I don't want to be anywhere, I go. If I'm on the party and I'm annoyed, I go. If I talk to somebody, I don't like them anymore, I leave. Like I don't, this is my SP, like taking care of my time. And it's not around the sixes stability. Like think differently. Like SP is not 6 related for me. So it's just SP stuff, like time and beauty and money.
Seven's a big thing with time too. Now I'm very curious, Mona, why do you see 6w7 over 7w6 for yourself?
Oh, I didn't. Emeka did.
Okay. Do you feel more 7?
Yes, I do.
Oh no, am I the only 6 here?
No,
I know that my core is 6 because I have a lot of, I'm an anxious person. I do worst case scenarios a lot. I'm very negative. I'm reactive, but like I feel very 7 a lot of the time. So
it's just like, but you got a 4 heart fix, you got an 8 gut fix. I catastrophize. I was gonna bring this up later, but like for the 7w6s, but I go total into 6 mode sometimes. Like if my, like, I guess it relates to my things being limited around me, where I feel like like the ground's falling out from under me, I can go like mega 6 and worst case scenario looping, which I've just associated with being wing 6 and 4 fix. But I'm wondering, because you just come across almost more 7 than me.
I always felt like 7, but then like it's a balance between 6 and 7, like, because the assertive thing, like I don't like to be assertive. I can be assertive, but it feels wrong. Like I'm shaking inside. Like if I have a discussion with
a super ego about it. You have
no,
like
I don't have super. No, I don't have super ego about it. I just feel physically ill if I have to do it. Like if I'm in a discussion with a coworker and we're fighting and we talk about things, and like I want to push through some stuff because I really want that, and I will do that, and I will come off very like calm and but like forceful. Like people think like I'm strong and I get my will, but inside I'm shaking. And after this discussion, I cry or I leave the conversation. Like I have to, like my whole body's like this, but in this moment I'm very strong, and you won't ever notice that I'm afraid. But like afterwards, my whole body feels sick. So I always assumed I cannot be a 7 because I'm too awkward around being assertive.
Something that did resonate for me as 6 with Mona was the feeling like I should earn this.
That's kind of it though.
Maybe the fixes, I don't know. Like my friends always call me honorary 7 because I do relate to 7 stuff a lot, and I'm frustrated like 7. But I think my core is 6 because it's so hard to explain. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's the fixes. I don't know. I try to make, like, I'm not still sure about it. Like, I think about it a lot.
But you also ping a lot upon other people. You know, if you have something in your mind, you reflect it back.
Yeah. If I have an opinion, or like if I have a life decision to make, like I tell my friends, but I never do what they say. Like I just tell them to see how they what they think about it, and then I do it anyway, like how I want to do it. Like if I had a toxic relationship and I tell my friends about it, and they were like, you have to cut it, like you have to leave it, and I'm like, but I never did. So I just want to hear what they think, but I never do what they say. Does that make sense? But I need other people to reflect my thoughts. Like I have to bounce the opinion. Like I don't know how to say that. Yeah, pinging. Yeah, probably. And I'm not positive. Like I'm not a positive person. Like I mean, I'm fun and I like to do like fun things and I laugh a lot and I'm a comedian. Like I like to make people laugh, but inside I'm really dark and negative. So this is not really 7, right?
No.
I don't know, the dark 7. What is the dark 7 thing? There exists for a reason, I think. But yeah, I don't feel like a positive type, although I guess like some people
no, but you can reframe very easily. You know, like
I do that too. I do reframe a lot.
What's your relationship to reframing, Sarah?
I don't know. I struggle with it sometimes because when people try to make me think positive about things, I resist it so hard. It is so difficult for me. I'm like, I need to process this by complaining and bitching about it. I don't want a solution right this moment. I will get there. But I don't know. I'm trying to think about how I relate to reframing. I resist it a shit ton, and I don't know why. I feel guilty about it sometimes because I feel like I should be more positive. I can do it for other people, but it makes me feel itchy or something. I'm like,
is it almost like, so like 6 a lot at the times is focused on truth. Is reframing almost like, does it feel like a denial of the truth and that's why it's making you feel itchy?
something like that. I think also ultimately I'm always looking for, as much as part of the reason why I get so kind of restless is because it's like an impatience or I think deep down I want to find the thing that I can settle into, I guess kind of a right thing, not like a right answer, but like I want maybe the most existential idea of truth, where it's like you can rest in this thing, but nothing exists that actually will fit that. Does that make sense? So I don't want to be locked into anything that is imperfect, hence the restlessness. And I think the reframing is like messing with my sense that there is something sure that I can reach eventually. Because if you can just change your perspective like that, everything's relative, nothing's real. And that's disorienting to me. It doesn't feel like right possibilities. It feels like nihilistic and scary.
If something negative happens, it's like instantly that I will like see the silver lining or whatever, or turn it around in my head and make it a positive thing, if I want it or not. It's like, oh, but that happened because of that, and then I learned this, so therefore it's okay, you know? It's like stuff like that.
You don't do this, Sarah? Like Chanti, like she explained, you don't do this? Not at all?
And I have 2 positive 6s, so, and a positive wing.
That makes me question my core type, Sarah.
Sorry, I don't mean to. And I don't think all 6s are necessarily like me, but I personally need to like whine and complain and woe is me. And like, I do have a victim complex as well. So maybe I like,
but maybe that's the difference between
like the idea of suffering a little bit.
I can see Mona's eyes darting as she's thinking.
Well,
you also have, I don't know, you have an 8 fix, so I wonder how that interacts.
Is this the 8 fix? Like, because I spiral a lot, like I have to suffer the moment, but then I hate being in this dark space, and I try to get myself out of it, and I try to see the silver lining right away, like Chanti said. Like I can cry in the moment, and I'm very reactive, and this sucks, and I hate the world, and why always me, and la 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 la. But then I'm like, but you know what? I'm going to fix this. I'm going to do this like this and like this, and I immediately try to reframe it. Like I never stay in this victim space. Like I can cry Monday, and on Tuesday I'm like, no, this will work out. I'm fine. Mm-hmm. Like I hate being negative and think about negative thoughts. I am very dark, but I'm trying to pull myself out of it constantly. Like I want to be positive.
Mm-hmm. And see, that makes me feel like, and I know you're not trying, I'm like, what explains why I do that? Because I wallow. I love to wallow. One of the reasons why I thought I had a 4 fix, which in hindsight is ridiculous, but I'm also obsessed with like death and loss, and I like to swim in those feelings of grief and sadness, and like I'll make a playlist, and I will like make myself emotionally feel even worse and like cry. Yeah. I like that. That's what I do when I'm feeling bad. I don't want to just,
it feels fun.
I can't just jump out of it. I have to dive into it.
I'm like getting really dark, but I get weirdly juiced off it. Like, and then eventually, like, I don't usually auto reframe like what you said, Chanti. Mine takes a while to get there, but it's like I'll just kind of marinate in it and like, really soak in it, and then kind of squeeze it for every last drop. I usually inspire myself, and that's when I start coming out of it, where I'm like, oh, I could like make that into a story. Oh, I could like use, and then I just start like leaving the pit because I'm like a little Tinkerbell or whatever.
You use it for creative juice in a way. It's like fuel to make something. Yeah.
When I'm like reframing, sometimes it's like I don't even give myself time to process, because I'm like, okay, next thing. Like, what's next? What am I going to do next? What's my next plan? What's my next step?
Like action, you know?
I can get like, I can have like almost like I have like a spider web of things that like if negativity is closing in on me, I have like so many things I can pull from to like distract and like get it off.
Yeah, I relate to
I'm
that.
trying. Yeah, I've been trying to learn how to like sit with it and trying to make myself sit with it. It is, but I've learned I don't do it for very long. Like I was like driving to like one of my babysitting jobs, and like it's like an 8-minute drive. I gave myself the entire drive to just cry, and then after that, like nothing. Like I'm good. I'm all good after that, and. So 8 minutes, that's all I need. But
it depends also on the thing, you know, on how big the problem is, or how severe it will cut you, or how big of an impact it has on your life. And if somebody like wronged you in a way, then I would be angry with this person and I would confront this person and say what this person has done to me or whatever, and then I can for me then I give it a place in a way, then it's sad, and then I can process it better, and then it's finished, so I can leave it behind me.
I think I'm also a very vengeful person, and I think that that can get in the way. I don't know. It's like dark Stockholm, and like,
Oh, you're like Willow Rosenberg.
I feel like I'm very like opposite of vengeful or like power gathering or like thinking about leverage and stuff. Like when people are like, oh, like I did like I'm very petty, or like when people are like, oh, I'm so petty, I'm like, how? Like, I don't know. I'm like, I'm always like fascinated, I guess, by people who they think about leverage or ways to like get back at others, because the thoughts just like don't cross my mind.
Triple posy,
So-
babe.
I don't do it
Yeah.
for, but see, I'm only core type different from her, and yet I don't know, maybe it's that like I don't do it for power. I don't want power over people, but maybe it's that I feel things extremely deeply. I'm a very like emotionally sensitive person, and I can't stand when other people make me feel that pain. Don't give a shit about it, and they don't make me feel that pain. I know logically that like I'm responsible for how I react to something that happens in the world, but my goblin brain goes like, you made me feel this way. You were a dick. You didn't care about me. You were like, I'm constantly trying to orient myself in the world to not inconvenience or hurt other people. You obviously don't care and don't do that. Therefore, it's not even a moral thing of like, you suck, but it's like, I do that. I put so much effort. It's not fucking fair. I want you to feel the way I do. So I wish I could find a way to make you feel the way I do. And even if it's something small that happens to you that makes you feel even an ounce of that, I'm going to be stoked. And that sounds so awful, but
No, I can relate to that. I do this with like in a relationship. Like if someone hurts me, like I want to make them feel what they did to me. So I get it.
And maybe that's the sixth thing of like, again, we're always kind of like plugged into that web. And if somebody else isn't feeling that, it's not fair. And we want to restore the balance by making them feel that. I don't know.
Okay, I actually I relate to part of that. So I want to push into this almost because I want to like see where the difference is then between you, Mona. I am very vindictive, and it does relate to that, but it's more a feeling of I'm insulted. Like, you dehumanized me, you treated me like garbage, and like I'm gonna fucking make you suffer for that. Like, it's
Yes.
Is that more your thing too? Is that how you feel, Sarah?
It's not, I don't know, that almost sounds like a social slight of like, you're beneath me, how dare you? Is that not, am I interpreting that incorrectly?
That could
Yeah,
be.
it's like who do you think you? It's like, who do you think you are? Kind of feeling that rises inside of me. Did you feel?
Yeah, I don't think that's. I mean, I don't like being embarrassed, but I don't think mine comes from quite that same roots. I want them to feel. I want them to suffer. I want them to pine and cry, and I want them to have to wallow.
Oh, I don't even want that. I just want to. It's like I want to crush them like a bug, just entirely, and have them know, like, well, not always that it was me, because sometimes I'll wait 3 months to get revenge on somebody and all this, but it's like it's like I just want to crush them in totality and walk, and like it's like throwing the fucking match behind you as it explodes, and like there's the explosion behind you, and you're just like, oh god, that felt amazing, and then you just move on with your life. Like,
That's beautiful. Very cinematic.
Chanti, how do you relate to like getting even?
Harder for me. because I forget most of the time. That's a problem. Yeah. But if somebody wronged me and then later they, they suffer, then I'm happy. Yeah.
Yeah.
I do like sometimes I will go into revenge mode, but it's more like just for fun. I don't know. No, it's like it's more maybe other people. If like a friend of mine or something says that she hates somebody, and then I'm like, oh, let's do a revenge plan, and then I will make like this weird plan, and completely like a diabolical plan, and then I can get like very satisfaction, like satisfying for me. But it's not that I would do it on my own for something that somebody did to me. It's more like yeah.
It's definitely
And I
more.
will note that I probably won't do anything active. I will just imagine, but I probably won't do anything out in the world.
Okay, so that's like a good delineator because 7's an assertive type.
I will do it. Yeah.
I definitely have gotten revenge. I've done it in the Chanti way where it's fun, where it's like, let's make this a fucking social activity. To just, but when I'm actually like, I want revenge, like it's very well thought out and like
Yeah, it's personal also. So it's more yeah, it's harder then.
And I'm passive. I want God to punish them. I want them to I want the universe to punish them.
I want to be the source of their
And I want them to know that it was me.
Yeah, like Game of Thrones. Tell Cersei it was me.
Okay, so for me, like my version of revenge is to get as far away from the person and to kick them out of my life as much as possible, and for them to be completely dead to me and for me not to care about them at all, and to just like do my own thing. That for me is like what I like the only way, like if I were to actively get revenge, it's just me kicking them out in every possible way I can. And I don't even really see that as revenge. I just see that as like I want this gone. Like I want this out of my life.
Well, I would like to ask then how the 7s, like Chanti, Rachel, what is your relationship to like anxiety and like the 6 paranoia and all that? Oh, now I'm echoing.
So six paranoia. So yeah. Okay, let me think. So I can think of worst case scenarios, what could go wrong or happen, especially when I'm like in a work situation and it's like completely new, like an internship, for example. Then I would like think of every possible thing that could go wrong or whatever, or but then I'm prepared for all the worst things that could happen, because I already thought of them. So then when it's actually happening, it's not that bad, I already thought about it and it was way worse in my head. So yeah, stuff like that. And I also over prepare. I like bring way too much stuff that I have, like in case that I don't know, get a headache, I have fucking medicine in case I will strand somewhere and I don't know, an apocalypse happens. Now, well, then I can survive for certainly a week with my backpack, stuff like that. I don't know. Yeah.
So how I kind of deal with anxiety, I was telling Larissa this before you guys joined, but like I can go like a whole week before an event and I feel like nauseous and sick and like I like want to throw up or like I'm gagging very easily. Like I like can't eat very much. And I'm like, I'll just like find some other reason why I'm feeling that way. And I'm like, oh, maybe it's my medicine that I've been on for a month and, couldn't possibly have any more side effects to like, or I'm like, oh, maybe I ate something and then the event passes and the anxiety is gone. Anxiety is gone. The stomach ache is gone. And I'm like, oh, that was anxiety.
Yeah.
And I will have like completely denied it and like totally like reframed it to where I didn't realize it was anxiety until after the fact. But another way that I kind of do six-ish stuff is that I am pretty prepared for things sometimes. Like if I'm going on like a road trip, I'm gonna check my oil. I'm gonna like make sure my tire pressure is good because I don't want to get caught on the side of the road. That's gonna be fucking miserable. So like I guess like the way my six wing kind of protects me is like preparing me and keeping me from being miserable in the future.
Same. Yeah.
Like I'm not the type of person who drinks in excess because I know I'm going to throw up, I'm going to be miserable, or I might start crying uncontrollably and ruin everyone's like time. So I typically try to avoid things that I know are going to make me miserable, or like try to like work around that. So.
Yeah, I also have that. Yeah,
that's
and also overpacking, lots of overpacking.
I guess that's an interesting point, like the motivation behind the sort of six-ish behaviors of the preparation of the like spiraling or whatever the anxiety is to avoid it in the future. Yeah, like all of my like prepping for the apocalypse has not been like particularly practical. It's like I don't want to be deprived of these things, so I make sure I have lots of books. I have lots of like art tools, lots of lip gloss, but it's more related to being deprived or like not being able to feel how I want to feel. So I wonder, like, but you're nodding, Sarah. So wait, is that a six thing?
I think it's more like I feel like my the seven-ish things I do are serving the six core, and that sounds like your six things are serving your seven core. So that's what I'm kind of agreeing with.
Mona, check in.
I'm so confused. So
we're giving her an existential crisis. No.
You know what? I relate so much to what Rachel said, and like so you're SP7, right?
Yeah, I'm self-res.
Yeah, I'm really confused right now. Yeah, I kind of like Rachel said, like if an event is coming up, I'm feeling like this too, and I'm thinking about like worst case scenarios, so I'm prepared like Chanti, like so I do this, so if this occurs in the future, I'm prepared and it's not going to be horrible. So yeah.
Wing sixes can get more carried away with worst case scenarios even than six wing sevens, because it's like, because our mind is usually possibility oriented. So I feel like it's almost like we can go into worst case scenarios that are so preposterous that it's like, sometimes I'll try to tell people like, oh, here's what I think is happening. Here's what I think could happen in the world, blah, blah. And they're just like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's like, yeah, that could happen. And it's like, so I think it's like the worst case scenario gets like expansive with the same way the seven possibilities. That makes sense.
Yeah. It's funny.
I feel like I drill down into problems versus doing that.
What about you?
But I'm always worried too. I mean, like I definitely relate to all that. If I'm going on a road trip, I'm getting everything checked. I'm going to be like, okay, if I break down, who am I going to call? How is this going to work out?
And worrying is like your kind of set mode, right? Like it's kind of your constant baseline. Is it like that kind of six-ish worrying? Or is it like?
I feel like I have more existential worry than that kind of worry. I don't feel, well, it depends, because I also feel like I'm a very stereotypical six in a lot of ways. So unfortunately, a lot of those descriptions do kind of relate to me. Like, you know, like the nervous mousy middle manager, kind of like, I'm always afraid. Oh my God, the sky is going to fall. Like, I don't feel like that. But having talked to other people and having dove more into like how I operate, I can acknowledge that there's a baseline of anxiety that is always there. It doesn't feel like the world is going to end at a certain, like the world is going to end. And at a certain point, I have to stop thinking about that. Sometimes I just like I bet, like, I don't have anything really prepped for the end of the world. I think about it. I have books and I know I should, but I think sometimes anxiety even makes me not prepared.
Feeding your own worry by not preparing.
Well, maybe that's actually what I'm doing, but there's an amount of like, I can't, if I think about it too much and prep for it too much, it's going to overwhelm me and I won't be able to do anything else. But like I said, I think generally I have more existential anxiety than I do. And like it manifests in weird ways. Like I'm always worried about my family members dying, but I have been since I was a little kid.
My experience with sixes, I live with a 6, is like when they're upset and they're going through something, they can kind of suffocate the room and they can just be sitting there and not like emoting or like saying anything, but you can just like
Feel it. Yeah.
I've been told that almost word for word. My ex would say, I can't remember the right, but he would say something about the whole room. He's like, your energy brings down everyone, the whole room. And I'd be like, fuck you.
Thank you. That's very nice.
But it's true.
And how do you relate to this, Mona?
What'd you say?
I'm gonna keep poking because I'm like, wonder if you're a savage.
Like if I'm trying to make sense of it, like in an actual situation, but no, nobody ever said to me that I suffocate the whole room. Like I leave. Like if something gets like emotional, intense, I usually leave. I don't like, or I try to solve it right away.
But I think it's great
to suffuse the room with negative energy because I'm moving. Like I'm already like on the go. So like I'm not like my husband can kind of just like sit in one spot for hours and just like radiate like negative energy. But meanwhile, if I'm like upset, like I'm like buzzing around the house, or I'm like out the door, in the door, like
or cleaning, avoiding the situation, listening to music, doing something else. Like I don't like I wanna have this fixed. I don't like to have like negative energy. Like I want to have this gone. I don't like it, so it has to go away. So
You're triple negative. Like that's crazy.
I don't know.
Triple reactive, triple negative.
I mean, I'm like a truth teller. Like this makes sense. Like if something is bothering me, I will tell you. I will not like. I would never sit in silence and think about it and not talk to you. I would like say it right away. Like I could never be. People never guess with me. Like they always know what I think and what I feel about them. Like I would never make you think about nobody ever asked me. So are you mad at me? Like, you know, when I'm mad because I will tell you. Like this never happened to me. Never.
It's 7 too.
Yeah, but I think it's just the triple reactive shit from you. You know, it's like you can't just not say it.
People know.
Yeah, I feel like it almost sounds like you feel almost not a duty, but it's like you need to keep things clean and straightforward. It still sounds sexist to me, but I don't know. You're like, it's so fascinating because like I relate to you, and yeah, I'm like, whoa, she's like an alien being.
No, it's like, yeah, it's a thick thing for me. Like this is what I feel like is my 6 is like being authentic and real and outspoken and never like I want to never leave something in the open. Like
I do that too. So and like I do feel like I'm always I'm always authentic. Like I actually can't really modulate. Like the only time I ever do any adapting, it's when I'm in a new situation and I'm literally doing it as a social strategy just to get a lay of the land, and then it flips off. But it's like,
but why are you doing it?
Because I'm just sort of like, I don't want to. I like burning bridges, but I like knowing which ones. Like I like burning them at my own leisure. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah. You first want to.
I want it to burn. I want to burn it when it feels right to burn it. You know. So like
Mhm.
I relate to the truth. I think 4 fix wing 6 plus 8 would make you the truthiest of the sevens, like the most real of the sevens. Cause like I don't have a problem telling people when I'm mad at them. Like I'll just tell them like you're being fucking annoying. Can you shut up? Like whatever. So I don't know.
I wouldn't say it like that though.
Yeah,
I
no,
wouldn't say it like that
I've
either.
gotten in trouble for where people think I'm joking, where they'll just keep talking about something I don't care about, and I've literally just been like, "Can you honestly stop? Like, I don't want to hear about this anymore." And then they'll laugh and they'll keep going, and it's like I'll literally get up from a table and just be like, "All right," and just walk off. Like, so because it's just like I'm just being held hostage. So I don't know. Like,
Mm.
Sometimes I wonder
when you leave the room,
if you have an 8.
carried away, like.
Mhm.
The room, is it because you feel like you're being held hostage? You're just like, I just fucking gotta get out of here. Like this is just agonizing. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a lot to think about.
Maybe Larissa just has 8 in her thing.
Yeah, see, like I've always wondered if you could have 9 wing 8 instead of 9 wing 1, because your social self already has a little bit of that like one-ishness to, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like an 8 wing on the 9 might explain something, because there's like a earthy gremlin energy about you that like where you're just like, fuck you. That a lot of that 7, but
Earthy gremlin, I like that.
Yes.
well, I'm curious about how we relate to the wing that we don't have, like 6s to 5s and 7s to 8s.
I do relate to aspects of 8. I relate to the assertiveness of 8 and like kind of just being pushy when I really, really want something. But I realize like 8s are just like, they're like in their entire like aura, whereas I'm like, oh,
Yeah, but I also think that we, like everybody, can like tap into both of their wings, like, you know, but I think one is dominant, but I think that you can use both sides. So for me, I can sometimes go in the 8 direction if I need to, but yeah. Yeah, I can be assertive if I want to be, and if I want something happen, then I will fucking stand my ground, and I will just like pursue and go and go and go until or like push something like at work or something. I will like fucking push and be very assertive because I know that I can get it if I push hard enough. So yeah.
I was gonna say I don't really know that I like. Yeah, I guess this reactive wing on either side. I can be pretty reactive. I don't really, besides the punitive side, or like I'm able to cut people off without a second thought if they fuck me over.
Mhm.
I just don't want them in my life, so I can relate to the rejection thing. But I relate more to 5 than I do. Like if I'm to go down the scale, I relate more to 5 than I do 8. So like I feel
Mhm.
like an angry head, like an angry fucking head floating through the universe. So I don't really relate to like 7 wing 8 when I see it. I admire it because I'm like, oh damn, like those bitches are slaying all day, all night, but I don't feel like I have access to that. So yeah, that's an
No, but
interesting.
I think that you can have like I don't know, like little things of the 8. I think that we can also integrate into our normal daily lives. I think actually that we can use all the types, you know, like everything, and that we have like access one way or another to all the things. But I think that we just have like this default place that we're pinging back to, that we're moving from, you know. And then it's like, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like the home base, and then I don't know, we can all like tap into whatever tree or fucking whatever number, but we will go back. I don't know, I think that's possible.
That's beautiful. I like that.
Okay. And also I think that's like the ultimate goal, right? To use all of them and to be like a more well-rounded person, and just, you know, learn from all the types and I don't know, integrate all the aspects a little bit. I mean, I know that we all do like all the defense mechanisms of all the types. I know that's also a real thing. Like that's as a, I don't know, it's a fucking tool that you can do also, like projection, for example, that's normally connected to the 6, you know, stuff like that. Or yeah.
I am always endlessly fascinated because Larissa and Chanti, aren't you guys like, other than your stacking type twins?
She's 4 seconds and I am 9 seconds.
Okay. Because like,
Yeah.
maybe that explains it, because Larissa's energy is so different comparatively.
Yeah, I know.
I feel like there's just rock music, like chaotic punk music in the background whenever she's around. She's like, fuck shit up. Ah! And then Shanti's like, I think we're all the same ultimately underneath. And like
fucking 9 influence. Ah.
But like I actually agree more with you, Larissa, that I don't relate to 5 almost at all. And 6-wing 5s, I feel like so different from them, and I feel like I admire them. Sometimes I feel like they're 6ing better than I am, because I feel like I feel all over the place and scattered, and like my anxiety tends to take over, and I'm like a whirlwind of just like blah, versus they have this, I know it's a stereotype, but they do tend to have this much more contained energy and like a cynical energy that like seems to accomplish the 6 goal better, keeping yourself safe. And I don't know, 5 is one of the types, I would hazard to say that 5 is the type that I understand the least. Like even 8, like I don't feel 8ish at all, but I can kind of get it. And like 4, I don't have any 4 influence, but I also think maybe I get that a little bit. But 5, I'm just like, I don't understand that at all. It feels, and people with 5 influence, whether it's 6-wing 5 in their stacking, it's really funny because I do this thing where we were talking about how we process and bounce things off of people. 5s don't do that. And they don't, it's like a void. They just take it all. And you're like, I'm like, I don't know how to be around you. It like makes me short circuit or something. So
it's interesting.
They seem really cool though. I'm not like shit talking. I just don't know how to exist around 5 energy. Where I'm like, hi, how are you? And they're just like, and I'm like,
oh, you're cute, Sarah.
Oh, thank you. Again, I don't think that 5s think so.
5 figures are like fun, like little creatures that like they come out every so often, and you're like, ooh, what's that? It's like you know, like when you go to the beach and the wave like rolls over the sand and then it rolls away and there's like weird little like things in the sand and they start burrowing in the sand and you can kind of grab them if you're quick enough. That's kind of what 5 energy feels like to me. And then
interesting.
You're like, wow, look at you.
That's adorable.
Yeah, that's so cool.
And then Shane is the one that's leaving behind like an info dump on the sand with his little feet, like carving it into the sand or something.
Yeah, they are very, very knowledgeable in general, and also very, I don't know, I always feel that they're very smart and well thought out, and they always have like this, I don't know, this vault of knowledge. What?
They feel autistic to me. Like they have this alien robot feeling about them. They don't feel like they don't get sarcasm. How do you say it like this?
People with 5 fix, they feel to me, you know, like what I described, like a vault of knowledge, and then Like out of nowhere, they can point something out, like Sophie does sometimes. I like that. Oh, this is this, what you're doing right here. This is that.
Yeah.
I forget Sophie has the 5 because Sophie is definitely an exception. There are exceptions.
Certain topic, and then it's like you like pull a cork, and like she has like she can bring so much to the table. Yeah. Now we're just simping about 5 fixers.
And even like 6 and 5, they seem really, really cool, but they seem like the cool 6s to me.
Yeah. When you met Steven in person, I think you were like, you thought he could be a 9. Because it's like they don't seem right away, like the anxiety and the head type.
More
like,
contained in a way. It's more on the inside.
Is more bubbly.
More and also more outwardly anxious maybe. And the 6-wing 5 is maybe more in their heads and more like thinking about the stuff. But
the anxiety is there. The anxiety is 100% there. Like you just have to talk to them enough and like chip away at it a little bit, and then you're like,
drill a hole. I like to drill holes in people.
I was just gonna say to Mona, like speaking of bubbly, like I don't sense bubbles from you, and I don't know if it's maybe somewhat of the language barrier, because that would make sense. But I'm curious.
No, it's just because this is videotaped, and I'm very image conscious, and so I hate that this is videotaped and will get out there. So I'm like, I'm really annoyed. So I'm not my true self. So you need to have I need to trust people to be my true self. So this is very sexist of me. Like if you want to see the real me, you have to get to know me like for a long time until I'm really myself.
See, I'm not like that. I'll trauma dump on a stranger. I don't give a shit.
Trauma dump on a stranger.
I will I can talk about like if this wouldn't be videotaped, I would be different too. So I don't like I would never submit a video to type myself. Like this is why I had a Zoom call. Like and honestly, it makes me anxious to know that this is videotaped. So this will probably my first and last call.
And we terrorized you by potentially.
No, I hate the fact that I can see myself on video. Like honestly, I would never put something in the internet. This is like, I did this because Sophie begged me. But
I have to say, like the first the thing that we send out, like the first episode, I cringed so hard and I fell on the ground like, I hate myself. Do the attachment core versus the
attachment and frustration. There's the object relation.
How do you attach? Like the 6s, how do you attach?
I think that's not a good call for me because this is like what I struggle with the most. So I should have like prepared myself more for this, but I see myself on 6 like in different things, but not attachment. Like I don't join groups or I have my people, like my friends I really care about, and they're kind of my support system. Like I need friends in my life too, but I don't do really much attachment things. Like so if you the object relations, I always related to frustration a lot. So I cannot say much to that. So
okay. Do you feel super ego in any way?
Not really. I know how to behave as a human being and what to do and what not to do. But if people say like, you don't do this, I'm like, but I do. So, but you don't behave like this, but I do. So I have this discussion with friends. Like I have a friend, like I visited Sophie, for example, once, and I didn't feel well, and I was supposed to stay 2 days, and I told her the next day, I'm going to leave. I don't want to be here anymore. I'm going to go. So I left, and she was really sad about it and frustrated. And I was like, what's the big deal? I just didn't want to stay anymore. So I left. And my friend with a lot of super ego said, you should have stayed 1 day longer because you told her you're going to stay 2 days. So and I don't get this. So or this stay at the party until 12 if someone has a birthday party. Like I go at 11 if I want to. So I don't care. I can love you, but I still leave the party. So
Yeah, also self-pressed.
It sounds very self-pres.
So I know how to behave and I know what not to do. And yeah, I don't know. How do you feel super ego, Sarah? I feel like God is always watching me and I'll get in trouble if I'm not a good person.
Oh,
Really?
I have
Okay, I'm
so
not
much
religious,
secret-
so I don't relate to that.
Well, I'm not religious either, but I grew up religious, so.
Me too. Like a very strict Catholic mother.
And at this point, it's not like a literal God. It feels more like the universe itself. Like
Yeah, there's some
karma feels like a huge concept to me, as far as like, that's at least how I wish it worked. And how kind of it feels like it works for me. I don't know. But yeah, I am just constantly looking at how what I do affects other people. And trying to think of some of the other like super ego keywords and stuff. Like my motivation comes from other people in general. So I know now about myself that if I want to make sure that like I want to do something creative like sewing or writing, I have to tie that to something social. Even though it's what I want, I need the accountability of other people because I am much more worried about letting them down than I am myself. So I don't know if that exactly relates to super ego.
I have a
What was
friend,
the other term for super ego that's not super ego?
compliant.
Compliant. Yeah, there's the authority figure thing. Like, I've always been really close to authority figures, whether it's teachers or parents or bosses or things like that. I tend to like really get attached. And teacher's pet like crazy, but I don't think all sixes are like that, obviously.
It's the 692, like that's the teacher's pet trifix for sure. So about authority figures, because I feel like if I'm buttering up an authority figure, it's more because I want to learn something from them, and then I'll be like, bah, once I get it. But I don't like have like some kind of I need to be aligned or something.
for me, it's more that I want to make friends with them so I can get stuff, or I can have like more privileges.
Oh,
So, yeah.
I don't have the privilege thing. I more just want what's in their brain. I want to like suck it out and then.
Mm. It depends on the person, of course. But if your boss can, I don't know.
I also don't see people as like authority figures. Like I don't ever look at anybody and think like I'm never looking up. To
No.
someone, you know what I mean? I'm never like.
Same.
I'm just like, oh, that person has like more information than I do, or this person knows more than I do about a thing I want to know more about. So therefore, like I will maybe respect their opinion more and I'll want their opinion, but it's not like for reassurance. It's more, I want to know what they know.
Mm-hmm.
And then take the parts that I want for myself. It's more like that teat sucking, that heat
Yeah.
style.
Yeah, but I also don't see like people like higher than me or something, like hierarchy, you know the words.
Hierarchical, yeah.
Thank you, yes, that word. I have trouble with this. For me, everybody is the same, and I will just like treat people the same and talk to all the people the same way. But maybe that's social blindness, I don't know.
No, that's like that's how I feel. That's what I just said. Yeah. Like I just
Well, I feel even for not being a social dom, I also have this like draw towards social climbing. I almost never do it, but I like feel tempted to. It's like a weird princessy, I want to be special thing.
Yeah, that's like for sure.
But you are special, and you are a princess.
Thank you. Don't feed into it. Yeah, I don't know. It's not like I'm trying to get something out of an adult figure. I want them to value me.
Yeah, you want them to, see
And if they
you.
fuck up,
Yeah.
like I will call them out on it and I will rail against them and I'll try to get them removed from their figure of authority because fuck that. Like I used to like fight with my I worked for my parents and he was our boss and he was a shit boss to everyone. And the only times I ever like argued with him were when he was mean to other employees. I would lay into him. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? All this stuff. And then he'd be like, you're fired. And I'm like, I'm not fired. Fuck you. And I'm never like that. I am a teacher's pet unless I feel like they're not good people. So.
What about you, Rachel? Like, because you got that too fixed. So how do you relate to like authority figures and stuff like that?
So authority figures, I guess I get along with people I get along with, and then I don't like the people I don't like. Like, I think since 5th grade, I have fought at least one teacher every school year, where it would be like a shouting match. And like I would be like very reactive and like on my feet and like I don't know why. Like, okay, no, I do know why. I didn't respect them. So it's like I need to respect the authority figure. It's not just because they're an authority doesn't mean anything to me. I have to respect them as a person. And if I don't, I will fight them because I don't respect them trying to like press authority on me. Now, if there's an authority figure that I don't like, but I need them or I need to use them for something, then I will be respectful, but I will keep my distance because I can start to get kind of, it can start leaking out if I don't stay away. But yeah, it's weird because like we were talking about being assertive and stuff, and I was like, yeah, no, I really don't argue with people. I don't fight with people. And then I'm like, I can. I can. And it's usually authority figures who like I'm forced to have them as my authority figure, and so in my head like, I can't accept that as like a limitation. So
yeah, I also have that I really need to respect them. So one time, I don't know how old I was, whatever, doesn't matter, maybe 21 or something, and I had this substitute teacher and he was just so fucking shit, and I told him that he was fucking shit at teaching and that he should just fucking stop already. And then I just walked out of the class and I said bye. And then later, like a year or something later, I had to do like an exam to get into a new school. But there was like a jury, you know, of people that judge you. And he was in the panel and he was like rubbing his hands like, haha, my revenge is here. So yeah, I of course I didn't pass the exam. And afterwards, then I found out it was because of him that he said, no, she can't come in. So it was interesting because I
would have tried to get him fired.
What?
I said, then I would have tried to get him fired because fuck that.
Yeah, but it was a different school and he had the upper hand. But then later, a year later, I tried again and he was there again at the door, like rubbing his hands. You're back. But were like different juries. So I just said, no, I'm not going with you. I'm going at the other one. And then later, I went into the school and he was my teacher actually, but he was underneath somebody else and he really, really respected the other dude, and the other dude liked my work, and it was so fun to see him struggle, because this one dude that he respected, he was like, oh yes, I can see the concept, blah blah blah, and he was like, yes, I can see it too. But it was like so painful for him and I loved it. It was like, ha 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 ha, great. So yeah.
I'm happy that worked out. I did get, well, I don't know if I specifically got this teacher fired, but he got me in trouble for something and I was pissed. I was like, I didn't do anything wrong. And me and this other girl who I'm pretty sure is like a social 6, we're like, we got all the kids in our class to bring home a petition to their parents and had them sign it that he was not a good teacher. And then we like staged like a sit-in on our desks to like protest him, and he didn't come back the next year. So I don't know why, but this is like 6th or 7th grade.
How do you feel about authority figures?
Exactly like Rachel, like word for word.
What, are you gonna go have a crisis in bed now?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, maybe. We forgot projection. We should have done projection. Like this is like very 6ish, like the projection stuff, and compared to 7. I do this when I think about, like, I always in my head think this person probably thinks this way and does it because of this, and I project a lot, and like, and I confront people with it. I'm like, you probably did this because this and that, and they're like, why did you think that? And like, I always thought I would not, I don't do projection, but I do. Like, I assume what a person thought and why they did it, and I confront them. So and this annoys people. Like my ex-husband was always really pissed because I was like, you did this because of that, and he was like, why do you always assume stuff? You don't know that. But in my head it made sense. I was like, yeah, he does probably this is because he did that. And like, I do this with all people in my life, where I think why they probably did that and how they feel, but I confront them then. So I don't know, but this is something fixers do.
Of course, but I also do it.
The person,
yeah,
it's like in my mind, like I'm like, oh, I know what they're up to. I see exactly what that is. I fucking know exactly what you're doing, like in my head, but I rarely confront.
Yeah, but sometimes it doesn't. It is not right though. So sometimes you have like this ludicrous idea about somebody, and it's like, no, I don't think that.
So this is not a sick thing. Now you confused me again.
No, but I also do it, projection. But I think
now I'm confused again.
Sorry. I'm so sorry. I think it's just because of the wing, because it's so much influence. I think.
Yeah, but how do I know if I'm a 7w6 or 6w7? Where is the difference then? Okay, so have fun, guys. Nice talking to you. Bye.
It's interesting, but yeah, it's true. But I also project. I think it's only natural.
I spiral a lot, especially when I'm feeling insecure. So I try to but I'm aware that I do it. So I try to keep it under wraps, where I'll it's like if I'm, I'm dating someone and I'm like, they're doing this and this and this, blah, blah, blah. And I do exactly what Mona just said, but I'll tell it to a friend and then I realize how crazy I sound, and then I won't say it out loud to the other person. But I'm still thinking it. I'm still still sitting behind me, and then it's like, oh, I knew it. You know what I mean?
So I can have projection, I can think it inwardly and be like, I wonder if they did this because of this. But then usually if I'm very I'm very sure, or I'm like, oh, I wonder if this is it, and if this is what's causing problems, then I have to clarify. I'm like, hey, just to clarify, I wanted to know what you meant. And just try to bring it all to the surface before any projection can happen. So I typically don't externally project, or I don't I'm not usually projecting. I'll project in my head, and then I have to go, just to clarify,
Yeah, I also do that.
Yeah, I do that too, depending on what the situation is and the person, where I'll bring something up the next day or something. Remember, when we were you weren't blah blah, and then sometimes it's imaginary, and sometimes they're a 9 and they're lying, and you confront them. Anyways.
I think I probably project a shit ton. So this is interesting because I'm thinking about it and I'm like, maybe this is where I positively reframe, is on behalf of other people. I think I've gotten less so, but I am an extremely gullible person. When I was a kid, I had those uncles that tease you, and they can hone in on the one person who they can get a rise out of, and I think it's funny. I was always that person, and they would convince me the most ridiculous things. And I was and I would get bullied by girls who also read that about me. Not that I'm guileless or anything, but I don't know. I tend to maybe project my own sense of morality or like how I'm thinking onto other people, but a lot of times I project my own positiveness onto other people. I don't know if that makes any sense. So like, I think sometimes that's how I end up in these really bad relationships, is because they'll do things that should prove that that's their character that they're doing. And I'm like, no, that can't be the reason they're doing that. They're doing that because of this or that.
Yeah,
I wouldn't do that
that's
because of this.
Yeah, that's positively refraining, I think. Yes.
But again, for myself,
Makes sense.
that's really hard to do.
Yeah, but I
can
also
like
give people the benefit of the doubt, though. I also think that they're like telling the truth or whatever. But it's not.
I think the one thing that I tend to project is like criticism. So if I'm criticizing myself, I will project that criticism onto somebody else. Or like, I don't know, I do tend to like, because I'm so sensitive, I'll think if someone's upset, I don't think that's actually projecting though. If someone's upset, it's because of me. If somebody at work is like, hey, everybody, don't do this. Even I haven't seen everybody else do it. So I assume it's about me. And I'm like, oh shit. Always about me.
Oh.
What about like projecting your ideologies onto people? Like my mom is like, you have to earn that in order to deserve it, you know? And she'll kind of like pick at me if I'm like, oh, I just got this thing. And she's like, well, I wouldn't get a $500 dog, you know, like, I mean, when I have bills to pay. And I'm like, well, I wanted a Pomeranian. Love my dog. Like, so.
Yeah, that's that a lot because
depends if I like the person. If I don't like the person, I will judge the shit out of them, but I probably won't tell them that. But like, if you were telling me that, like, do what you want to do. I personally would probably get a shelter dog, but like,
yeah,
it's not my finances. I don't care. But I mean, I feel like I can be judgmental, so I'm not trying to. Caveat.
I had a girl block me because I told her I bought my Pomeranian. So, I mean, I'm kind of like ready for it sometimes, but at this point, I don't care.
I mean, maybe I have my hills to die on. Like I've blocked people, but this is after like a lot of like patience and trying to keep things like there are certain. I don't want to bring politics into it, but I was really mad at some family members about what they said about specifically women's reproductive health. So maybe I have my own hills to die on. And maybe the Pomeranian just isn't it.
The thing with the ideologies before we move on from this, like, I think it is a thing. It's like, I've noticed like sixes or super ego types, especially project like the rules they put on themselves onto you. And it's like limiting beliefs. It's like you have to follow the limiting beliefs that they've taken on from society. And if you don't, then you're a bad person. And it like stresses them out that you're a bad person. And then they have to like sort of meddle, or it's like, I mean, attachment types in general, I think can also do this too, but it's like, you've got wrongthink, or yeah, it becomes this ideological battleground. And I feel like it happens more with like super ego or attachment types than like a seven. Like I feel like sevens are more live and let live. Like they can get on their podium, but I think they're more going to be like, oh, well, that person's just like this. Who cares? Like, you know, do what you're going to do, bitch.
Well, like I said, that's like the root of my pettiness, is that when specific lines have been crossed, I'm like, I did all those things. I calculate I look out for people. You didn't do that for me. Fuck you. I want to burn you to the ground. I hate you. But usually it's not about politics. I feel like self-pressed sixes can be our own brand of obnoxious, but I feel like we're a little bit more live and let live versus like a social six can be. Bye.
Let's bleed this stone dry.
Has such a big smile and I love it.
Yeah. She's so fun.
Sarah, is there any like major differences between you and I as like very, very close, almost type twins? Like I feel like we're sisters, not twins.
Yeah, like sister cousins.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have a sister cousin because she's anyway. It's really random. I feel like you're more forgiving than I am, I feel like.
Oh, really? Yeah.
You seem to like you said, like your defense mechanisms, you just like, you let things go and you're done. I'm like, how? Can you teach me?
Done with, for me, like my energy, like I can't with like getting back at people or yeah.
Yeah, you seem to take things less personally. You seem to just be a little more vibrant in like a color wise. Like I feel like the way you dress and like stuff is a little more like, I'm cute, but I'm like homey cute. Like I'm wearing a sweater and I look like a school teacher. And I feel like we do have similar vibes in that, like we have the glasses and we're both cute, but you tend more towards kawaii cute and I tend more towards Miss Honey cute.
I have a good, so like if we were both librarian aesthetic, because I feel like I can have librarian, I would be in the children's library and you're more in like the rest of the library.
Yeah, I get that. There's just like this extra childlikeness, maybe a purity of childlikeness.
I definitely have some sort of like wonder, childlike wonder. And like I'll like, I saw this meme that was like very me and it was like, shut up, I'm experiencing childlike wonder. And I'm like, yeah.
And like meanwhile, when I was a kid, I feel like I was parenting my parents, and how much of that is because of what they were doing and how much of that is an instinct that I have to relate to caregivers.
Yeah.
I put my nose in people's business more than you do, I think. I piss people off somehow more than you do.
You really?
I feel like I do.
I think it's the 6w7 is more self-conscious than 7w6. Even if 7w6 feels self-conscious, it's like the 6w7 is more going to be like broadcasting the self-consciousness. And then I think that sometimes that can feel like a thing that you have to like maintain sometimes. Like if you're hanging out with 6w7s where they're doing the anxiety thing, it's like
you got to match our frequency, but you don't want to.
I also think like 792 is like zanier than 692. It's like more out there.
Yeah,
I don't know if Weird Al's a 792.
I like contort my body and like
like I know you guys don't think Jim Carrey is a 792, but like at least maybe the characters he plays are kind of like that.
Oh yeah, I love Jim Carrey. I definitely think he's a 7w6. I've always resonated with him, so yeah.
Yeah, I find him gross. I only liked him in his later years when he started publicly spiraling and going on about the Illuminati and stuff. Then I'm like, okay, I can get down with Jim Carrey now. Truman Show's a good movie, but yeah, I don't like. He's like a lot. He's like, that's the other thing I guess too is 6w7. It's like 6 versus 7 is 7s are more a lot. Like they're
yeah.
It's just like if you got like a friend where you're like, oh, they're just like a lot. They're often like 7.
Oh, I was gonna ask you this, Sarah, because me and Larissa talked about it before people came on. But so like I was talking about how when I help people, it's always something is gonna benefit me. Like I'm doing it for me in some way. And I feel like 6s are more like they're willing to just like do it. And I don't like to help people if they need it or if they need me. I don't like.
Yeah, I think that would be a difference.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like ultimately we all do things because it benefits us. So even though, and I am so hyper aware of the Stockholm, again, because my mom's a Stockholm. I know everyone's mom's a Stockholm, but my mom's also Stockholm. Like I think we're type twins as well.
Stockholm trap. Sorry for interrupting, but pregnancy.
No, that's okay. But I see her doing things and I'm like, oh my God, I'm so much like her. Please, God, let me not be exactly like her. And I can recognize how much the being nice thing, like obviously we're doing it for ourselves, but it looks more selfless. But then you can be way more self-righteous about it because you're being selfless. Yeah, I feel guilt is a huge motivator for me, which is probably not the case for you. So yeah, I feel like I have to help certain people or else I will feel terrible. So like, yes, I'm trying to help them because I think they need help, but like it's also selfish because I don't want to feel like shit if I don't help them.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I'm very good at taking care of people. Not like some people are, like I also feel like I'm not a good Stockholm. Like the baking of the cookies and the always like knowing exactly what they need. I'm not very good at that, but I want to be.
I think you're really good at validating people. And like if people are like publicly like, I'm going through this thing and I'm beating myself up about it. And like, I can see like you come in and like, it's like a very validating sort of thing. And I feel like I'm just coming around, I'm like, it'll get better. Like, and I just like wait, and I'm like, I wish.
Well, I do think, so this is a completely other thing that I'm sure we'll talk about when we do an episode with Whiny Tears. But like, I know everybody talks about nines mistyping as fours, but sixes mistyping as fours, I think is something that a lot of people don't necessarily talk about. Mm-hmm. Because yes, sixes are anxious and stuff, but I do feel like we see a darker side of life. And in that way, like we acknowledge it, we accept it, we're like living in that all the time. So when someone else is going through it, hopefully if we're present in ourselves, we're not just trying to give them advice. We're like, I've been through that. I can hold space for you to be going through that. Like that makes total sense what you're going through. And like, let me just be there for you. And like, I don't know, that kind of like empathy. Mm-hmm. Because you've seen the darkness. I mean, it's not as like cool as four, but
like when you feel like people need you or like do like people reaching out to you and like needing you for something, or like somehow like their emotional state hinges on you being present with them. How do you deal with that?
That also sounds exhausting. So I don't know how I balance that. Like, I feel like that's my skill set is like being there, listening to people. But I'm also not the go-to person for that.
Do you wish you were the go-to person sometimes?
Sometimes I wish I were more patient and I wish I could be better at that. But then it also sounds like a drag because I don't know. I do still have that 7-wing like or self-pres. I don't know that like being jealous of my time. Mm-hmm. But it is a power thing too, I guess. Like I don't feel like I'm actively going after power. But I feel like that's like what I contribute is being nice. I feel like I'm more an accepting role. Like maybe that 9-ish kind of like I can't really fix the thing that's going on, but I can hang out with you while you're going through it. I think that's more my strength.
I think I struggle with people who are having like pervasive problems and they're not in a space to accept solutions. Because I'm not good at sitting with people in the pain. I'm like, we can go like throw axes or we could go go-karting. I can't just sit here and listen to you talk about this every day. Yeah. You know, I like if I have friends who like they start making a habit of like wanting to come to me and rant about something, and then I'm like, oh, is this the new friendship dynamic? Because I'm not gonna do this with you.
Well, they can wallow with me. Okay. Like I'm fine with the wallowing to a short, like, yeah, there's certain people that like their lives are in constant chaos. And it's like you're like, but they can wallow with me and then go have fun with you once they've processed it.
Yeah. Like I can't when I see people putting themselves in the negative like situation and like they're like, oh yeah, I did this thing again. And I'm like, why would you do that? Like but yeah, no, we relate on that front, it seems. Should we wrap this up?